in Cameroon, Sierra Leone, and Ghana. So we are the market gate. We are the people who are making sense of data to help companies improve their revenue and the perception that the customer have on them. Hello.
Hello, go ahead, Fadilah. We lost you for a few minutes, but just go ahead now. You're back.
Oh, wonderful. I was saying that I am the co-founder and CEO of AMZILL, Management Consultant. It's a market intelligence company that operates in Cameroon, Ghana, and Sierra Leone. And we do help companies build the data set as well as making sense of the data that they are able to capture in the market to be able to make better decisions, strategic decisions, in order to improve their revenue as well as the perception that customers have of them. And I'm happy to be here today. I am honored. Thank you so much, Miriam, for inviting me. And I'm looking forward to exchanging with all the panelists. And I'm happy to be here.
Okay, welcome, Fadilah. What about Abraham? Abraham, please, go ahead. Who are you?
It's a very warm day. Like you have invited us, and I'm really honored to accept your invitation. And in fact, I was really happy to see to it that it is reaching all corners of the world. And you won't believe, by having people, panelists from all across the world to a great extent. Here, if you see, a person like you have really taken this around to such an extent that it has shown the true value of woman empowerment.
Thank you.
I'm really happy to see to it that you have done that.
Welcome.
To tell a bit about myself, I have currently the chief coordinator for a US family office by the name Lion Eagle, where we have just started off, and hopefully we will be doing business across the world. By profession, I am a managed consultant, and I'm doing a lot of work in various verticals, which is as diverse as from healthcare to business consulting for various institutions and business development, and even as diverse as things like foreign education and so on. So I intend to give a lot of contribution to various spheres of activity what I am taking up, and with the best of my ability to see to it that all prosper around us. My main aim is to see to it that people are happy all around, and this is what is most important, and which is very much lacking and is at a premium these days. Wow. So this is why I was very keen to even be part of your association, and let this program be a harbinger for other programs to come from your end, and end up like an Oprah Winfrey show.
Welcome, Abraham. Wow, that's.
So I think I've given you my bit, and apart from that, I am also consulting a lot of a chamber of commerces and industry in the country, and I'm giving a lot of inputs wherein many people have grown to different levels, and prosperity all around is something which we should crave for, we should wish for, and see to it that people grow to levels which will be very heartening for you. I suppose I've given a very concise and precise thing regarding me in this.
That's fantastic. Thank you. and welcome. We're really, really happy to have you, and we're really looking forward to hear, you know, how you actually, you know, do everything that you do and how you impact your community and how you inspire people around you. So welcome, Abraham.
Definitely.
Chris, how are you?
Am I?
How are you? How are you today?
Yes, I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm so happy to be live with everyone. Thanks so much to MGO family for putting me with great leaders everywhere. It's an honor for me and my organization. Hello?
Yes, hello. Go ahead.
Hello.
I can hear you.
Yeah, so I also own me and my organization for us to live this phone and so much. The MG family for connecting with greatest around the world. We are so happy and we appreciate it. And also let me back from I'm crazy for the good of Liberia and the frame of respect and other platform. What industry like Bell is acting like Bell for development and organization Africa you in Liberia. So I do for software Liberia and I'm passionate about knowledge development. So because I believe that we use the technology to our problems, that's why I'm passionate.
Okay.
And again, so much we give me platform.
So we couldn't hear you very well. So just can you start again? Tell us who you are and what you're doing, just to give you a little bit more time for the Hello, Chris? Are you okay?
I heard me now. Hello. Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Mr. G. I'm super business, but I will be quite quick. And I'm from Liberia. And we the platform that we engage in culture technology to solve problems in the country. We are creating and improving with from our to risk of more production of jobs. So there's that green view and I'm out of NGO like the okay development and transition.
Okay. All right. So the connection is not very well. So we'll come back to you later. I just want to know, I mean, and I'm talking to the panel, what really motivates you to do what you do today? And what is your big motivation? How do you keep going? We really want to know, because that's very important. Fadilah.
Well, for me, one of the greatest motivation that pushes me that pushed me to get involved, to create AMZILL and to focus particularly on data set is a number of elements. I would like to start with talking about my background. I attended the United World Colleges of the Atlantic, and this is a group of schools that have been founded under a particular value, and the value being contributing to the world so that it can become a better world. And this is the way I grew up. And leaving that school, I had the privilege to attend, I would say, well-known schools as well as highly regarded schools, notably Georgetown University, as well as the London School of Economics. And during my years there, in those universities, I've always been focused on development of, let's say, of countries located in Africa. And particularly looking at the human development aspect of it, as well as the business development aspect of it. So immediately when I finished my study, I decided to relocate in Cameroon, where I worked. Previously, I launched a microfinance institution. And later, after launching the microfinance institution, I decided to join an alternative finance company. And during my time working for them, I've learned a lot of disconnected, or let's say disconnect between the providers of the funds as well as the company that exists in the market. And the fact that there was also a disconnect around what customer needs. How is the market behaving? And those people who consume product, what do they want and what are they looking for? So after many years of experiences working for the alternative finance, I realized that there was a big gap between the providers of funds as well as the company that were beneficiaries of those funds. And I decided to launch AMZILL with my co-founder. And the whole idea was to be able to provide a specialty company located in Africa with valuable data that will actually help them be a lot more competitive. That data has become very important. And when I talk about the importance of data, I usually talk about how we connect data. You know, when you look at an absolute data, you don't connect it to all other elements around it, it will not make much sense to you. You have to look at it, you have to look at data as a dynamic set of elements that could be connected to other elements to be able to make sense. Okay, to put this into perspective, I'm going to give you an example. When we talk about purchasing power in Africa, for example, the purchasing power in Africa, we're talking about between $1 to $2, right? That actually does not translate into understanding what is happening in Africa in terms of its market. So the whole point is how, when we talk about $1 to $2 in terms of purchasing power or the middle class income, what do we mean by that? And when we talk about that, are those elements necessary or enough to be able to say a particular class of people fall within the middle class? And of course, we all know that throughout the debate with the World Bank and the IMF, people have been coming up with other alternative way of measuring the middle class in Africa. So the whole point, the whole driving or the whole drive around building AMZILL was to be able to get the data that already exists, but make sense of those data. Because although they can be difficult to be found, they do make sense as long as we look at it from a cultural perspective, from an economic perspective, as well as from an anthropology perspective. So these were the reason why I was driven to actually invest my energy, my time, my resources, and get the support that I needed to get to be able to build AMZILL. And like I always say, it's always better, for me at least, to be part of something great. The movement that is happening in Africa, the fact that we're moving towards something even greater, I wanted to be part of that, of this history, you know, we are writing.
And data analysis is actually getting traction all over the world. So it makes sense that that we want to be part of this movement at the beginning.
Absolutely.
At the beginning of the chain. So what was the reception? Because that's something really new, I mean, for African to see. So what was the reaction of the market, of the community? Because you need to talk to people, you need to explain to them what's the added value. So how are they receptive to you with your project?
Yeah, first of all, our product is very simple. I usually say to our clients, we're here to help you make sense of the data that you already have and the data that you can capture in the market. Well, at the very beginning of the launching of AMZILL, which was 2 years ago, it was very difficult. The first 6 months was very difficult because we had to educate a number of entrepreneurs who did not see the value into data analysis. And it's only later that we were able to show the results or how powerful it can be in, number one, supporting companies in making the right decision. Number two, understanding the customer that they are serving. And number three, making higher revenue. That's when companies started being more receptive about the services that we were offering. And I also want to highlight that, of course, we operate mainly in the central region of Africa, which is still very much, I would say, different. We have entered into a market that did not have any base. I would say any reception for data analysis. So obviously it was very difficult at the beginning, but I can reassure you that today people are a lot more receptive. People see the value in data analysis. They see how they can even achieve higher revenue and higher efficiency in understanding how the market behave and how the company behave within a particular set of market. And I only hope that the current trends actually show to us that within the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to have a lot more companies, a lot more entrepreneurs, a lot more government institutions making sure that they are focusing. They also have an eye on the data and the data moves and how people respond to those data, because they can obviously see the value that it can bring.
That's fantastic. I mean, it's just it's a big project, and I can understand the motivation, because it's gonna have a tremendous impact. Abraham, so what motivates you, and what's your big why? Because I know that you're working on different fronts, and I really want to know exactly what really motivates you to do what you do today.
Just I'd like to add on to what Ms. Fadilah has already told. Regarding the schooling creates a real base and sets the tone for us to reach out to people and all that. I'm being an avid networker myself. I have been able to meet up with various types of people, and this happened when I was with the fitness equipment marketing and sales job, which I was predominantly working on in my early stages of my career, fitness equipment and healthcare. So what happened is that with fitness, we used to meet people of all verticals. And because of that, we could meet people right from the base, from a person who's a trainer up to a top political and corporate honcho. And in that process, we could assess things, and we could meet the decision makers. That was the main thing. And we could, because of that, we could diversify into various other things, and we could stretch our limits to see what we are capable of. And I am a person, I'm basically not a 9-to-5 person, but I always try experimenting with various things. And you won't believe various instances of dealing with people gave me a typical perception that I could deal with the best, because we could meet the who's who when we were in the fitness segment. And you won't believe another thing which happened is that in certain cases they tested our limits also in terms of our how to handle people, how to handle the best of people, make decisions, to see to it that things move forward, and all that really gave me a real insight into taking up management or something. And that way I could, my my real perception regarding growth is everyone's growth. Our growth can be defined only when people around us grow to the optimum. Others' growth, and talking of the circle in which we move around, that growth is very much influenced in our growth also. And in the end, when we reach the pinnacle of glory, a lot of things happen because of others. And seeing others perform is what has been my forte. And that has led to my strength, which is being seen today. My strength being, I've stretched myself from one vertical, which is very odd, to a very strong vertical, which I am in, and so on. And you won't believe, in every place where I've stepped into, it has been a very, very, very good scene for me in terms of growth. And if you see, whatever coordination work which I am very, very good at, client coordination, this has been my forte, and that will remain my forte. And that is the way in which you can grow to the optimum, if you have the points and all the figures right within the circle which you operate in.
So that's a very good point, because we never do it alone, and the problem is, you can try to do it alone and make profit for yourself, but if your community is not following, then it's not going to last.
It's very simple.
Yes, it's really very simple. So thanks, Abraham.
Another very big point which I rely on, I always tell people, Can I?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You can go ahead.
The reason why I say, in every project what we operate in, we need the help of many people, and we have to connect the dots properly. If the dots are not plugged in, nowadays projects are a plug and play. If you see, a person with one expertise can't rule a project. A person with various expertise have to be in line to see to it that the project is put forth in the right manner to the right client and at the right place. And if you see, the expertise can be identified, and that should be our aim. As you see in most of the cases, in some cases people have crumbled and not able to perform just because they have been individualistic. The moment you try to be individualistic here, it starts crumbling. And the moment you think that you can do it all alone, that is your crumbling point has started.
Exactly.
But if a person really goes and looks into the nitty-gritties and see what are the lacunae and put the proper people in, then he is a victor for sure. There is in no way he can fail.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
If you see any good project or any so that is what our perception should be, and that is what I believe in, and that is my strength. And I have been able to, what I do is I identify the potential in people who can really shoulder the responsibilities of what I am weak at. And that is how I collectively make the growth.
It's always about collaboration and using the strength of everybody around you, in your team, in your community, everything that you do. And I agree with you with that. It's really critical for everything that we do, especially when we want to engineer really greatness and deliver to the best of our ability. That's a critical point to have. So Chris, tell us, what motivates you?
Okay, very suffering. We are not in the court, and food with you, and that is highly our population. For Liberia, we have so we have plans for every so teachers will bring a dish to part of our population, and because food insecurity like food food is very bad, so I want to the average virus in the bad, so a for population. So because every problem there will be a single change you can institute. So program can teach food problem. So the really like focus on the agri-ecology and more crime. So because now so we create a farmer card when that in or in the country or any be able to play more or we use the money and here much. So for example, we get a collaborative grant, we farm there. So when someone let a farm and invest a capital, we gather, and that is access to the profit you receive because for example, the profit between 2 to 5% depending on what you get. So because so that we will do a survey county in Liberia, and the example in Liberia, we use the money and go farm use that capital to the country. When the profit is completed, then we have back to us and our country. So in have a massive protest for the current program almost 3,000 so many people are testing that because the internet currently is not here. So we don't use it for the only other platform. So yeah, so it's a big bad. So as an institution, we think we if the we for our people. So all the programs there we to get person school to grow our now. Yeah, because Liberia is very suffering. This price on the rising our new administration, but we think we can make a difference by solving the problem in our country.
Yes, so as a young entrepreneur, it must
yes,
be quite difficult, you know, because I mean I know that I mean not a lot of young people want to go into agriculture because I mean people find it challenging, and you know it's a long process before you get the rewards. So you know what how do you actually make sure that the young generation get involved in your project, because it's quite an important project to be able to make sure that Liberia is self-sufficient in terms of food and things like that. But it's another problem to make the new generation understand that it's an area where they have opportunities. So how do you manage that?
Because what you get agriculture interesting. So we don't call it that every time we have any ability has you can bring it up to agriculture. So for example, an engineer, we think about the engineers and other people in the industry to use that skills in the idea to develop program to support agriculture and going to agriculture program with evidence and encourage them to go that field. So they have engineers or chemists and other people will be there develop that solve agriculture problems. Because now if you complete the part is there, you see you to back more than then everything solve the problem. Because you and someone to bring the idea and solve the problem. So Camba the developer and where the brand that do our problem. So whatever we bring, that's how we think, and we do this.
So that's good. I mean, what I've seen you do is bring the digital aspect to it. So I think that's been a good thing, especially to attract the young, the young generation to get involved into the industry. So what I want to know, I mean, from the panel, I mean, obviously all the projects that you're working on are not easy projects. And so what is the biggest challenge that you've come across in what you're doing, and what would you say is the biggest challenge right now for you to make progress or to get to where you want to be in what you're doing? Fadilah.
One of the biggest challenges that we do face in, say, the data market understanding sector is being able to translate the value of data understanding to our clients. That's one of the biggest challenges we faced so far. So since we started operation in Cameroon, what we have started doing is organize frequent seminars to share data set that we have, an analysis of data set that we also have about the market to potential clients. I'll call this the information kind of process, where we are able to share how the dots connect and let them also derive solution based on the issues that they're facing. So, like I say, one of the key challenges that we have faced was actually feeding, being able to see more company getting more interest in data understanding. So, and of course, with the action that we have taken so far is kind of revealing to be positive action in order to keep on motivating people to seek for our services and to also benefit from what we offer. And of course, the other key challenge that we have faced as a company, has been to actually select a qualified consultant that could take part in our growth, first establishment and then growth. And of course, that was a tedious process to be able to identify a number of young talent. I'm happy to tell you that we are working with 7 people in our office in Douala. These are 7 specialists who have been trained, who have been selected and trained, and who are constantly going through a number of training to be able to keep up with what is happening also around the world. So I would say so far our biggest challenges has been, number 1, getting our client to see the value of data, and number 2, making sure that we have the people that are well trained as well as well informed to be able to service those clients. And I think that we are currently on the right path.
Okay, that's fantastic, because that's especially getting people. It's always been a challenge in that particular region. I mean, Cameroon and Congo and Gabon, and so I'm happy that you are able to to be on track on that, because that's one of the biggest challenge here. So Abraham, what is your biggest challenge right now? Tell us.
Biggest challenge, if you ask me, is, again, I would say it boils down to the personnel. The personnel, if you don't have people who are equipped with knowledge for the right project, the project can be a disaster. First point. Second point is, a person should be able to perceive and project the right thing to the client is one. And second thing is that person should have all the ingredients of satisfying a client. It is not just confined to knowledge. There's a lot of elements involved when we have to cut through a client to get the order. Which includes things personal, which includes things business also. So once you mingle and combine both, which is a tough exercise, you are a winner. And if you get the nod in the first instance itself, you are there in the second meeting also, and the third levels out the project in your favor.
I'm actually surprised that
the biggest thing is.
No, I was saying I'm actually surprised that the personal aspect is still coming for, I mean, because India is quite a big country, and you know, you expect to have the right people for the different projects, because I mean, the education system is developed, and so I really want to understand where the problem is here.
In fact, people still go by a lot of tradition here. India is full of, it's I would say, you know, soaked in tradition, and there are various languages playing the you know, playing the music, I would say here. If you see, there are 29 states, and they are all, you know, speaking different languages.
Okay.
Even to rule a country like this, you know, it is very difficult, because perceptions are different, opinions are different. There are 101 opinions, and we have to cater to various types of queries, which, you know, in place to place, their mindset also changes. So there is a lot of you know, things which have to be evaluated before even a project is put to process. So here, because of those things, and you know, the literacy levels going higher day by day, things are changing in a very, very different perspective in India. And you know, it is going for the better only, and it's not for the worse. But there is a lot of foreign, I would say, foreign direct investment coming into India, wherein there are a lot of projects which are done on a PPP model. And there are a lot of projects which are coming on a JV model also. If you see, the biggest refinery is going to come in India by 2022. By 2022, there's going to be a big refinery coming into India. So what I'm coming to say is that these are, you know, foreign technology involved. Like from there is a lot of technology involved from places like Israel. There's a lot of technology involved from the US. There's a lot of technology involved from France and Russia and so on. You see, each and every project has got some touch, some foreign touch. And that is really making all the domestic projects more exciting.
I can imagine the complexity, and
there is a mix of personnel, there's a mix of ideas, and the ultimate result is an explosion.
So basically, so diversity is a very, I mean, it just diversity is the way, you know. So that's fantastic.
The very fact that our discussion itself is a diverse thing. The discussion what we are involved in right now is a diverse thing. We are trying to collect perceptions from various corners of the world, and that is the right way to do it. And you have, you know, been in the van to do all these things very well. And you know, that is and there has been a typical paradigm shift in the perception of people because of the intrusion of various ideas. The projects are much faster, deadlines are met much more than the earlier days, where, you know, things have changed. People, you know, all the world's a stage these days. You know, getting things done is very easy. If you see in sectors like banking and telecom and all, India is going in a very different way now, if you see. And telecom, it has really exploded in terms of number. Every other company from abroad are trying to come here just because of the head count.
So
and that is really, because of the explosive population. The head count is very high, and the business is also coming into their streets. And that is one reason why you see a lot of progress in that particular sector. Likewise, the biggest challenge which we face right now is still the personnel. The personnel defines the company, according to me. The best the personnel, the best the company. And the company will be same as the case with the big global giants also, like Apple and all that. It's because the personnel define the change. That's my take on the.
And I think it's good to understand. I mean, now that you explain to us that whatever the country, whatever the size of the country, it's always about human capital. So it's something that we need to always pay attention to in everything in our life, and that's good to bring it out here with this diverse panel. Chris, what is your biggest challenge right now?
The best challenge is for people to get use technology to so that's right? To technology, then in the see same way, we not the only is more even because that was in the country is very different to what we our job is to need hard work. So they don't as far only we need stuff. Alright, because we are finding so got the application the kid so that's how yeah. So
okay, we're losing you. We couldn't actually get everything. So it's a pity, because I know that you had a lot to say, especially on the challenging part, and so that we could understand what a young entrepreneur like you face in a country like Liberia. But it's really a pity that the connection is not helping us here. We almost we're almost at the end, and what I want to know is I mean, it has been a great panel, and our mission, I mean, in the Mirai Tulekima Global Organization, is really about engineering greatness. So what I really want to know is what you do translate into your community. How do you engineer greatness in your community and inspire younger entrepreneurs? And what are the kind of inspiration that you want to give them? Who wants to start? Abraham, you want to start on this one?
I can start. In fact, if you see, success is always very, it is followed by a lot of, the failure always is a stepping stone to success. There's a dictum we have. But I have a different story to tell. In fact, success is always very sweet only when you taste failure. Failure is always a thing which can lead to a very, very, very different story altogether. And if you can learn failure stories more than the success stories, you will have certain bits and pieces out from the failure stories to make things a much more a success. Now I can tell you about the cost of success. It really calls for a lot of effort, a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of things which are very much required at various time zones, because people are everywhere, ideas everywhere. You have to converge it. You have to do various things. A lot of things can happen. Many friends can desert you. Because you are confined to certain things which you want to do on your own, and you want to do and make it successful. Then there will be misunderstood, because you are going in a different path. You're going against a wave, which might be correct, might not be correct, but you have a perception that it will be correct. Second thing is, you can get, you can pat yourself and say that we have done certain things, but the whole world might laugh at you. That is also there. But you can, at times, you can reach a perceptional stage where you might even question your own sanity. Whether this thing is correct or not, what these people are doing. The world has lost hope. Your friends have lost hope. But the third thing, you should not lose hope in yourself. This is another thing. And you have to be on your own when things happen for the right perspective. There would be resistance everywhere. Nothing is going to be without resistance. When you talk out anything or speak out anything, there is going to be resistance. But if you think that the thing is right and you have the right passion to do and carry it forward in the right perspective, in the right stream of things will work out. It will never have a failure aspect to it, because you are strongly believing in to be a success. Be it anything. It can be entertainment, it can be in engineering, it can be in manufacturing, it can be in production, and so on. If your perception is right regarding what you're doing, things will fall in place one day, and that day might not be far off. Another thing I would like to tell you is, whenever you see a person succeeding, always you can see another person failing also. Life is a big balance. It never happens in one day that you succeed and you're going on succeeding. You can have a close of failure also. So you have to balance it. And that person who is doing that balancing act is the person who is going to succeed. And always, as I said in the beginning, failure, the taste of failure is very much an ingredient of a boosting success. And a success story always will remain with a tinge of failure at some stage of their success story. You see, any person, he would be having some sort of a failure aspect in his whole journey. And that is what has brought him to the success level. The success levels don't come overnight. That requires a lot of legwork, requires a lot of toiling of the brain, and putting things in the right perspective, combining with the right people, having the right people around for getting the thing augmented to reality, and putting it in the right perspective to the people whom you think are going to execute it in the proper manner. And this is what happens and should be the aim of every young budding entrepreneur in this world, I would say, to have a very successful path laid out. Any successful entrepreneur you see should have that an entrepreneur vein in him also, in him or her, and that is the cornerstone to success. And success doesn't come overnight. On that note, I would like to conclude.
Okay. So that's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of inspiration. I mean, I think sometimes people, when they see successful people, they think that it just happened. It's been really easy, but it's always good to know the story behind the success. And like you said, it's a string of failure, and you need to learn from those failures and have believe in yourself and believe in what you really want to achieve. Because on the way, like you stressed out, when you fail, people abandon you, you're on your own, so you really have to have a big why to continue the journey. And
exactly.
So that's fantastic.
If you see in the modern, just to add on just a few 2 points, if you see now, earlier people were afraid to give their stories about failure. Nowadays people are coming forth in such a way. You can take for instance Jack Ma. He has put forth his failures in such a way that it has become a total inspiration for the whole world. He is not afraid of speaking out his failure.
Because that's part of his
videos
success.
Which talk about his failure.
That's part of his success.
Yes.
Exactly.
He has tasted success with a lot of hard work. Nothing goes easy in life.
Exactly. Thanks, Abraham. Fadilah, what about you? Tell us.
Well, I would like to start by saying that I am very blessed and a lucky person. I've always been surrounded by a lot of tremendous inspiration coming from my mother, who has worked all the way from the bottom to the top, coming from my friends and I would say advisors, as mentors, who have always kind of giving me element to chew on and giving me expose the way they do business. And I've been working a lot on startup and with startup and my sisters. So I would want to say that I've been kind of raised and built surrounded with people who have always wanted to contribute to something greater. And as they were doing what they were doing, they were making sure that they were dedicated to what they did or what they're doing. And in itself, that has been extremely inspiring to me. And I feel like I've been unconsciously relating the same path around or within my environment. So, and I would say at AMZILL, the way we do work is we are always driven by results. These are the key terms that any of my colleagues who are part of AMZILL, work at AMZILL, listen to me, will be, we are driven by result. We care about the result. Only that simple line, only that mindset is already something that pushes people to have a great work ethic, push people to be dedicated to what they want to do or what they're doing, And I always say we never stop to share about our failures and our successes within the company, as well as with our clients and with our friends, because to me that's a source of of an inspiration for people that are yet to come and start a business, or people that are currently in a business. And I often say that one thing that has made that today we have different means of communication where throughout these exchanges we feel inspired every day. And myself, I am committed to making sure that I share what I do. I share what I've learned. I've been privileged enough to benefit from a world-class education. I've been privileged to benefit from different network groups that other people have not been able to have. So my aim has always been to share this with people, to be able to make sure that we can exchange, we can learn from each other. And this in itself has been extremely inspiring, has been wonderful to the people that I surround myself with, wonderful to my clients, and as well as good colleague that that I do work with.
Okay, that's good. So a lot of good things. So the determination, be really, in the right environment as well, because that's an important factor, and the education aspect of things as well. So that's very powerful. So I think we've lost Chris, and we're basically getting to the end of the show. It's been very inspiring, to have you today, and I really want to thank you for being part of the show and for sharing your knowledge and your inspiration. It has been really fantastic to have you, and so thank you very much. And I hope that you'll continue to give this inspiration in a different platform to other people. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Bye. Thank you very much for inviting us and inviting me in particular. And it was a great honor for me to be talking here today and representing AMZILL. And we love what you're doing. And we all also know that is also one of the ways in which we can connect with the world. And I know that the entire world is listening to us right now. And I'm so happy to be sharing my story with the world. And I am so grateful for all the people who have had the time to tune in today to follow us. And thank you so much, Mireille, for doing this and for inviting me. We're grateful at AMZILL.
You are welcome. You are really, really welcome. And we hope to have you back at some point because we're just starting. So we expect this thing to grow. So thank you for being part of it.
Thank you.
Bye.
Means a lot. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.